It is now day 3. Uriel and Rhiannon wake up in their king-sized bed, to see out the large walled window, and the sun rising once again, over the Salish Sea, and Cloverleaf Point. It's time to wake up once more, in their sonnet king-sized room with balcony, at Dashwood Bed and Breakfast Inn. It's time to stretch, wake up, and get ready for another exciting day, touring around, in Victoria, British Columbia. It's now time to go and take a shower in their huge massive bathroom. They need to be awake and fully refreshed to face another long day of excursions. Better make it a hot one, to relax all those muscles, from the previous day. Now they need to go from their suite on the 3rd floor, down the stairs to the main floor, and into the grand dining room for breakfast. Breakfast is served in the grand dining room from 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Because of COVID-19, and the fact Victoria is a port city, with lots of people coming in on cruise ships, from countries all over the world, they only allow 6 guests in the dining room at a time, spread out throughout the room, to prevent others from getting sick. They ask their guests to wear masks in common areas, and they take laser temperature readings of guests daily before breakfast. They want to be sure the other guests are safe before masks are removed for breakfast. Luckily, Victoria is at a record low for COVID emissions in hospitals right now. So let's hope the numbers stay low for Uriel and Rhiannon's vacation. When numbers are high, unfortunately the dining room is closed, and guests are served breakfast in their rooms. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. Either way, the food is made by a gourmet chef, and is amazingly delicious. It is served to guests, regardless of where, by 2 very nice ladies that are part of the staff of Dashwood Manor Bed and Breakfast Inn. They take very good care of their guests there, and do so with pride. Now it is time for Rhiannon and Uriel to head out for another exciting day. They leave the inn, and start walking north on Cook Street, which is the street they are already on. The address of the inn is number 1 Cook Street. Okay, time to get busy, and get going. There is lots to see and do today, and no time to waste. The first quick stop is at a local grocery store just a few blocks north. It's a lot cheaper to buy a few snacks and something for lunch to bring with you than it is to eat out on the road all day. It can save you hundreds of dollars. So let's go into the local market called the Root Cellar Grocery Store. They will need to find some non-perishable snacks, such as granola bars or fruit roll-ups, to keep their energy up during the day. They will also need to find something for lunch that they can take with them, that doesn't need to be refrigerated. Also some flavored drinks, to keep them hydrated, but not caffeinated, or too much sugar. That would just cause an energy crash. All of these things also not only need to be enough for their long day, but also not too heavy to carry, and tiring them out too quickly. Now that they have their items, it's now time to check out, and walk further north to their first destination of the day. And boy is it an amazing one! Like something out of a movie or a fairy tale. Something fit for a princess. Rhiannon is gonna love it. So where are we? Well, let me tell you, we are at a real-life castle. Craig Darroch Castle, as a matter of fact. And now, in modern days, it is a museum that we all can tour. So let us now all go inside, and dream of what it must have been like, for the families who have lived here in the past. The only thought I have, is I'm glad I didn't have to clean it. This place is massive, and has 4 floors, a lookout tower, and even a basement. Here is a map of the first floor. Now get ready to hear just how big the castle is, and remember, there are still 3 more floors and a basement. The first floor has an entrance hall, a main hall, a library, a drawing room, a formal dining room, a room for smoking, and a room just for eating breakfast. Wow, that's a lot of rooms just for one floor. Here is the first room you see, when you go in. The entrance hall. Next, you come to the main hall of the castle. This is where all the rooms and stairs connect to all the various destinations of this amazing place. Next you come to the castle's library. With how old this place is, you'd wonder what marvelous tales these books would tell, from authors long ago. Next is the drawing room. Look at the beautiful gold details on the walls. Look at the framing at the top of the walls. Look at the outlines made on the edges of the floors of the room. It's all so beautiful. Next is the formal dining room. A place where lunch and supper are served by the servants of the castle. Next is a gentleman's smoking room. Years ago they had a room for smoking cigars, so not to disturb anyone else in the house. Not only does this castle have a formal dining room for lunch and supper, that you have already seen, but next we have another room which is just for breakfast. This room is different in that it has more fine china for coffee, tea, egg holders for hard-boiled eggs, and things like that. And now for the second floor. On this floor we have a bunch of bedrooms. This is J. Miss Dunsmuir's sitting room. This is the second floor's hallway. Such beautifully wooden paneled walls. The next bedroom is El Maud's bedroom. Now we move on to the third floor. Here we find a billiard room, a hallway, and 3 more bedrooms. This is the billiard room. A game of snooker and cigars was the norm back then, during deep discussions and business conversations. Up next on this tour is Robert Harvey's bedroom. The next thing you see here is the third floor hallway. Next on the list is the servant's room. All I know is you couldn't pay me enough to cook 3 meals a day, wash your laundry, mend your clothes, and clean a 4-story house, plus a basement. No thanks. The servants of this castle must have really had their work cut out for them. The next room to see in this castle is Effie's bedroom. Finally, we are at the very top on the 4th floor. Here there is a large dance hall, and the watchtower. Here is the large dance hall, where they could have guests over, for dances, with live orchestras, and extravagant dinner parties. Then finally there is the watchtower. A high-up place, where you can look out the windows, over the horizon. Or you can go out on a small round balcony. Is Craig Darroch Castle haunted? You bet your bottom dollar it is. It rates as number 7, in Victoria's most haunted places. Staff and guests have claimed all kinds of paranormal experiences. Childlike whispers coming from nowhere and everywhere. Children crying but nobody to be found anywhere. A piano playing, but there is no piano in the room. Sounds of orchestras playing but nobody is there. People have seen a woman in a long dress on the stairs. People have seen a little girl. People have seen a maid walking about and then vanishes. There is a very creepy boy in the basement who appears before you and just stares at the floor. If you approach him, he just vanishes into thin air. People smell cigars, but it's a non-smoking building in today's world. People smell candles burning, but the place today is all converted to electricity. There are cold spots all over the castle, even when all the windows are closed and the heat is on. People touring the museum have seen objects moving on their own. So is Craig Darroch Castle haunted? Yes, yes, it is very much so. And now it's time for Uriel and Rhiannon to take 2 city buses, with one being a transfer, all the way up far north on the island, to go to their next 2 destinations for today. This is where they catch the first bus, which will take them part of the way. Here is where they transfer to a second city bus, which will now take them far up north on the island. Now just to cross the street, and we are at our next destination. So where are we now? We have arrived at the Victoria Butterfly Gardens. Let's go look inside, shall we? The Victoria Butterfly Gardens are not just butterflies. They also have creatures from all over the world. They also have exotic birds, exotic turtles, exotic fish, rare types of frogs, and lizards. They also have exotic plants most people have never seen before. They also have rare bugs, beetles, spiders, and many different insects on display. Most of the place is a jungle inside of a greenhouse, and all the butterflies and birds fly freely about. How cool is that? So let's go start our adventure. First we have to pay our admission fee at the gift shop, then we can go right on in. There are more than 17 areas to this facility, so let's show you what each of the areas has to offer in this amazing place. Section 1 is 1,400 butterfly chrysalis from over 70 species from all over the world. Section 2 is a large garden of vanilla orchid plants. Section 3 is a group of red-footed tortoises. In Section 4, you get to say hello to Shadow, a blue and gold macaw, flying free in the jungles and gardens. In Section 5, you get to see a large flamingo pond, which also has very large koi, and other tropical fish. In Section 6, you get to see a display of various poison dart frogs, from Central and Southern America. In Section 7, you get to watch over 70 species of caterpillars hatch from their eggs. Section 8 is a bunch of South American fish, as well as tropical gardens with many plants. Section 9 is a pond, with a fly river turtle, and many Amazonian rainbow fish, swimming around, as his friends. Section 10 is a giant bamboo garden. Bamboo like this can grow up to 120 feet in height. Section 11 is a garden of epiphyte plants. These plants are plants that grow on top of other plants, and use that other plant to survive, without damaging the plant itself that they live on. Both plants thrive and survive together. Section 12 is Butterfly Alley, where you will see many different kinds of butterflies, from around the world. Some are very tiny, and some are gigantic mammoth-sized too. Section 13 is the Turtle Log Pond, where many different species of turtles sit on logs and sunbathe. You're now entering Section 14. Say hello to Macaulay and Azrael. Both are green-winged macaws, flying free in this part of the indoor jungle. Section 15 is an area with a wishing well. All donations and wishes go to local charities in the community. Section 16 is a large garden of chenille plants. This plant from Hawaii grows flowers that look like long, fluffy, pink cat tails. Section 17 has a very large tree house. In that tree house lives a group of green iguanas. In Section 18, they have a large garden of carnivorous plants that eat bugs and meat. You better watch your fingers, because these plants do bite. They are not large enough to eat a human, but if they were, you would be food. But wait! There's more. Now that we're done that map, we move into the insectarium. Here there are glass enclosures of all kinds of insects, from all over the world. So this is not just a butterfly garden, but there is so much more to see at this location. So now that we have seen all that the Victoria Butterfly Gardens have to offer, it's time to move on to our last location of the day. The last and final destination of the day is the Bouchard Gardens. This place is so big in fact, that it will take the entire rest of their day. It will take Uriel and Rhiannon over 3 hours to see all the gardens this place has to show them. Here is a map of the facility and the route they will be taking through it. As you can see, it is a very big place. They will start with the sunken garden, with its beautiful staircase that takes you down into the gardens in the valley. Here is the sunken garden again, but from a different view. Next they will see Ross Fountain. A fountain that dances, sprays, mists, whips around, changes location even, and even changes colors. Here is a different view of Ross Fountain. It shows you how this fountain can even change its location. Next is the Bog Garden, with many animals made of wire and moss, throughout the gardens and trees. Here is another view of the Bog Garden, with animals everywhere made of wire and moss. The next thing they will see is the Rose Carousel. It's indoors, so it's great fun, all year round. This is what the Rose Carousel looks like from the outside. It, itself, is in an actual rose garden. Next is a garden of totem poles, from the indigenous peoples of the island. Each pole has a plaque telling the stories and meanings behind the characters on each pole. Here is the totem pole gardens, from a different view. We now come upon the Dragon Fountain, and its garden. Here again, is the Dragon Fountain, but from a different view. Now we come upon the Rose Garden, and a tunnel completely made of rose bushes, suspended overhead of you. Here is the Rose Garden, once again, but from a different view. The next thing that Rhiannon and Uriel will see, is the Sturgeon Fountain, and its garden. Here is the Sturgeon Fountain again, but looking at it from a different way. They will then enter into the beautiful Japanese garden area. The Japanese gardens go on for a while. Here is a different part of it. They then come upon Star Pond. Look how perfectly intercut this is. That must have taken a lot of work. It's truly beautiful. Here is looking at Star Pond again, and its gardens, from a completely different angle. Up next, is the Italian, Sunken Gardens. Here is a different point of view, of the Italian Sunken Gardens. Somewhere along the many paths of Butchart Gardens, there is a working water wheel. Here is the fully functional water well, from a different point of viewing. Well, it's been a very long day. It's now time for Uriel and Rhiannon to take the long bus rides, with one bus transfer downtown Victoria, back home to their bed and breakfast inn, by the Salish Sea, to the far south of the island. First, they have to take a city transit bus, back south, towards downtown Victoria. Then they have to transfer over to another city transit bus that takes them into the James Bay area. The bus will drop them off near Beacon Hill, and they will have to walk the rest of the way home to their bed and breakfast inn by the Salish Sea Ocean. Once they get back home, Uriel says, "Hey Rhiannon, by the way, you need to dress really warm tomorrow." "Oh, why is that?" replies Rhiannon. "The weather is not that bad, can't I just wear my windbreaker?" "Nope," says Uriel, "you better wear a hoodie under that, and bring some mittens." "Where the heck are we going?" asks Rhiannon. "You'll see," says Uriel. "Tomorrow, you Rhiannon, are going for a 3-hour tour on the Salish Sea. They will take us most of the way out towards the actual open ocean, but not quite there. Then come back to port. I wonder what you think we will see while we are out there. All I can promise you is that it will be worth it. Maybe this clue will help you know why you need to dress warm for tomorrow." Could it possibly be this, and so much more? You will just have to wait and see now, won't you? Now let's get some sleep, for tomorrow is another exciting day. Good night, sweetheart. Sweet dreams. And know I love you.